Before we begin, since this is a BBC-owned property, I feel the need to point out that the news arm of the BBC has a continuing issue with transphobic leanings in its news coverage. You can find in a pinned comment below various videos from both myself and other YouTubers covering this issue. And while I understand that the Doctor Who creative team is not responsible for this, I will continue to point this out for as long as it remains a consistent issue. Thank you. So, tell me about your journey. There's so much to love about Doctor Who. The imagination on display, the fact that it can go anywhere, any when. But the characters, I think, are what bring most of us back over and over again. The Doctor themselves, obviously, but the companions, recurring villains even. But which characters have had the best journeys? Who's had the best character arc? Well, it's the 12th Doctor, it's Peter Capaldi, and he will not be eligible for this list because I literally already did an entire video explaining why I think that is an amazing arc and why it means so much to me personally. So he's being excluded because otherwise, if you know my material at all, it's too dang obvious. So here we go. I'm going to be giving you what I think are the best character arcs of modern era Doctor Who. I considered adding classic into this, but even some of the ones who I considered for it, I haven't seen enough of all their stuff to really be able to fully chart out the arc, even though I can think of a few who probably would make the list if I do this again down the line after I've taken in some more classic than I have. Ace. But this is going to be a list of 7. Which is a weird number, I know. The problem was, I had too many that I wanted to talk about to limit it to 5, but I didn't have enough that I thought were truly worth talking about to make it to 10. Because some characters have perfectly serviceable arcs, but are kind of unremarkable. Some characters don't really seem to have much in a way of an arc, and that isn't even a knock on the character. Because sometimes if you characterize somebody the right way and you make them fun and interesting, they don't have to go through a massive journey and change to still be really compelling. So this is not a ranking of the characters in and of themselves, and this is a completely separate notion from who I think is the best companion or whatever. So this is just talking about the journeys they went on, their arcs. So let's start at the bottom of this particular list, and keep in mind, even the ones at the bottom are ones I thought were worth talking about. So we'll start there, we'll work our way up. Let us begin then with number 7. Martha Jones. Martha goes through a really good journey for multiple reasons, on multiple levels, because it is a journey of her gaining more confidence in herself. She's incredibly intelligent. That's demonstrated right from her very first episode.
If the air was going to get sucked out, it would have happened straight away, but it didn't. So how come?
Very good point. Brilliant, in fact. What was your name?
Martha?
We might die.
We might not.
Good.
But she's also a student. She knows she has a lot to learn. And so a lot of her journey over the course of Series 3 is learning to have the confidence in what she does know.
Bones of the hand. Carpal bones, proximal row, scaphoid, lunate, triquetral, pisiform, distal row, trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, hammock. You read that in a book? Yes, to pass my exams.
And getting to have that strength within herself to make a choice because she knows this is the right thing. She's got a stubborn streak, and we see that early on, but this is part of why she chooses to leave the TARDIS at the point and in the way that she does.
So this is me. Getting out.
She knows her value. By the end of Series 3, she's been through enough, and she has done enough. She has personally helped save the world. She knows her value. And she knows that she's not going to get from the Doctor what she wants. And that makes this an inequitable situation. And she can't keep doing it. And good for her. And if you're wondering why she's at the bottom, it's because certain aspects of this are undermined by her appearances after Series 3, such as working with Unit the way she does.
Is that what you did to him? Turned her into a soldier.
That one's not too bad, but then at the very end, showing her just running around with a gun, paired off with Mickey.
And this is no place for a married woman.
Well then, you shouldn't have married me.
What was that? What even was that? It doesn't completely undermine her arc, and it's not even inherently belittling, but like it's such a weird note to end her on when she had such a strong departure from the TARDIS and a decent enough appearance after that, but come on. Number 6, Mickey Smith. Well, speak of the devil. And we will not be addressing any of the issues around Noel Clarke as a figure or as a person or any of the stuff that has gone on in the last few years. Not dealing with it. We are just talking about the character of Mickey, who, somewhat similarly to Martha, needs to understand his worth, his value, and build confidence. Because he had spent a chunk of his life thinking he really just wasn't going to amount to much, and he was just there to have a laugh with Rose, and maybe for him that would even have been enough. But there's more than that out there. And over his time, relatively brief time actually, over the course of Series 1 and into Series 2, traveling in the TARDIS, well, he learns what he's worth. He learns what matters to him. And he learns to go for those things. He learned to let go of Rose, but embrace meeting his grandmother again because he felt like he'd lost that time and he had the chance to embrace it once more. And then having gotten that and had that time to make a stand, do the right thing, help save the world multiple times. He's slightly above Martha because the last note we get him on honestly makes a hell of a lot more sense for him. Him running around, with a gun, defending the Earth, taking on, aliens and whatnot, it makes way more sense than Martha. Martha, I can definitely buy, would always care about what's going on with aliens, but the fact that, she's a doctor, she's a healer, she has expressed a care about people, but she's decided to go about that by just shooting things. If it was ever going to work for her, we needed more information about how she got there. Mickey, it's more natural and makes more sense. Number 5, Amy Pond. Whereas the other characters that I've talked about up to this point, a big part of their journey was coming to know their own worth and to basically stand up for their own place. Amy kind of had to do the opposite.
Amy, I am going to need my car back.
Yes, in a bit now. Go and have coffee.
Right.
Amy, when she starts out, has a bit of an inflated sense of self-worth in terms of just being used to getting what she wants. And there's a fantastic dynamic right off the bat between her and the Doctor because he's let her down in the past and he's one of the major people in her life to do that. But she is a pretty selfish person initially. She's here for the fun. That's why she is willing to try and jump the Doctor's bones, even when she's about to marry Rory.
It's you. It's all about you. Everything. It's about you.
Hold on.
Because she wants what she wants. And at first, she is not really thinking about whether or not that impacts anybody other than her. But she doesn't stay that way. Over the course of the seasons and with encounters with people like Vincent or with incidents like what happens with the Flesh and the Gangers and losing and then regaining and then losing again and regaining again, Rory, Amy comes to understand that she can't just go about gallivanting and just trying to have nothing but fun forever. She has to make a choice about what her life is actually going to be. And that will mean closing off the possibilities in some areas in order to have others. And that is her ultimate choice at the very end. She has a choice, the Doctor or Rory. And she's willing to close the door on the Doctor to have what she can't live without. And that's not a choice I think she would have been able to make before. I think she would have been paralyzed by being put in a situation where she even had to make that choice. She was sad to make it, but she did because of the journey she'd gone through. Number 4, Rory Williams. Here we are coming back to the character who learns his own value. But it's not just about learning his own value. It's about getting confidence in the value that he has to other people. So it's not just about what he's worth. It's about standing up for what he knows he can give to other people. Amy in particular. Again, to make the comparison, you look at how unsure of himself, how unsteady he is when he first gets introduced at the start of Series 5. And then you see him in the Centurion outfit just strolling in.
Where is my wife?
I think when first introduced, Rory might have still done it, but he wouldn't have been able to do it with confidence. He wouldn't have been able to do it with strength of conviction. He wouldn't have been able to do it with certainty. But he could by the time that happened. And he loves Amy, and he's always loved Amy. But he also comes to understand that he's not just there to love her and nothing else. He gives her more than just affection and loyalty. And he comes to understand that over time as they come to value what they offer each other. And again, ultimately, to have that decision to stay together, even if it means they can't travel anymore. Why did I put him slightly above Amy? I don't know. I think I'm just slightly more of a sucker for the person finds confidence in themselves story than person becomes slightly humbler. Both are valid, but, personal preference. I could easily swap those two. Number 3, the Ninth Doctor. Now, this is one of a couple of different things depending on how you want to view it. If you want to view it strictly by the chronological airing of episodes, what we start out with is someone in pain who has gone through a tremendous loss and who does not want to put himself in a position where he's going to lose anything again, until gradually opening up to the point that he is, when faced with almost the same decision he made just before the start of Series 1, makes the opposite choice because he's not the same person.
Coward. Any day.
And the other way to look at it, if you want to take the bigger scope and take the timeline slightly ahead of where Series 1 starts, well, then you have someone who made, or at least remembers having made, the worst decision of his existence. He did something horrible. And maybe he even has a little bit of a death wish. He wants to still help people. He wants to keep being the Doctor, and he is. But he is traveling alone. He is throwing himself into situations where he could easily die. He doesn't seem especially panicked at the idea when he might. Sometimes, not a lot. And when he does, more about the circumstances than the fact itself.
I pushed boxes at the Boston Tea Party. Now I'm going to die in a dungeon. In Cardiff.
But then he finds Rose, and they build that connection. And he refines his ability to care, not just about the universe, because he always cared about universe, but about himself. He valued himself probably the least of anybody. And he came to understand what he meant to Rose because of what she did to try and save him, but he cared about her too much to let her do that. Maybe that's what he still would have done if the whole Bad Wolf thing had happened earlier in the series, but I don't think his exact motivation would have been the same. I think there is a difference in why he saves Rose and then regenerates at the end of the series than if it had happened at the beginning. Because if it had happened at the beginning, it would have been almost just instinctive. Someone's in trouble, this is what I do. At the end, it is a much more deliberate choice. And it's a much more informed choice because he's not running on autopilot anymore. And that journey to see him get invested again, that's great. Number 2, Missy. Folks should have guessed that this was going to be on here. First of all, Missy is one of my currently my favorite master. But she is fun, dangerous, in her own words. And she just seems to be tearing through time, doing whatever strikes her fancy, because it's fun. But eventually the fun isn't enough. And she starts to long for that connection to the Doctor. Now, the Master has sought out the Doctor before, repeatedly. And initially she does seek him out to kind of torment him and mess with him. But then we get to series 9 and she's seeking him out because he thinks he's dying and she's his friend. She's still very Missy about it, but things are shifting. And then we get to series 10 and she wants that friendship back. She has seen and been through and lost enough that she doesn't want the conquest, the chaos. The fun isn't fun anymore. And she wants to try and get back what she once had. And Michelle Gomez does a really good job at selling that maybe, just this time, if only this time, she can be the Doctor's friend again. Still be herself, but be his friend once more. And I enjoy that. I like that trip. I like it a lot. But number one, again, if you are a regular of this channel, shouldn't be a huge surprise, especially with Capaldi out of the rounding. But number one, Donna Noble. Obviously, there's more to her that we are going to be seeing a little bit down the line once we get to the specials with David Tennant. But for right now, it's not just that Donna goes through major personality changes and growth from how we first meet her. Loud, abrasive, yelling, annoying. Just stepping on everybody's toes, superficial, to someone who is deeply empathetic, just amazingly warm-hearted, and building such an incredible platonic friendship with the Doctor. It's not just that journey. It's the fact that when she first showed up in The Runaway Bride, I didn't like her. I didn't like her at all. Even on rewatch, I still don't like her in that. But it's the fact that she starts there. She starts out like that. And over time, sees people and alien species and the universe in jeopardy, and comes to realize how big everything is, but how much everyone in it still matters. Her journey of her empathy opening up through experiences like Fires of Pompeii, Planet of the Ood, and then the eventual heartbreak over things like Journey's End, where she has found a way to help almost everybody, but she can't hold on to it. This isn't just about how gorgeously tragic her departure is. I really hope that doesn't get undermined. We'll see. But it's the fact that she truly had become the best that humanity has to offer. And then it was taken from her. But before it was that journey to get there, it was believable. It was heartwarming. It was amazing. And that's why I think Donna Noble had the best character arc of modern era Doctor Who. Who do you think? Who did I leave out? Who would you include from classic? Whatever your thoughts might be, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon is what pays the bills around here. It gets you early access to these videos up to a week in advance, in fact. You get that perk at every tier of support. And there's other things that you can get at other tiers as well. But don't worry too much about it. The like, share, subscribe thing, that helps me out as well. But don't worry about that all that much either, because what I really want you to remember is that wherever you are on your journey and your arc, you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You are the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. End of the video, so I gotta shout out my top patrons. Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfulla, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Oliver B., Angus Bjarnason, Melinda Walters, Imudelki, The Oath of Boyd, Katoria, Toy Lowly, Becky Sparks, Fernambulax the Poodle, Zach, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Tim Price, Adam R.D.L. Taylor, Shayla Gourlay, and Brendan LaRose. Thanks for your support. If you want to hear me probably mispronounce your name as well, check out the rewards on the Patreon. How you doing there?